Hello. Hello. Can you see the screen okay from over there? Yeah. I'm not blocking you or anything. If I'm standing here, do you need me to rotate it just a little bit more? Rotate? Oh, yeah. Better? Yeah. You think it'll catch my sound if it's just hanging there like that?
You wanna give it a test?
Sure. Okay. Got to do. Hi. Hello. Hi, Christina.
Hello.
There you go.
Hello.
Hi, I can hear you.
Can you?
Okay. Yep, can you hear me okay?
Yes, perfect. Thank you.
Awesome. Alicia, was that you that just joined in?
Yeah.
Awesome. All right, we'll probably just wait a couple more minutes in case there's any stragglers, and then we'll get started with our warm up. In the meantime, now that I can actually see all your nice faces, if you could put your name cards up, if you haven't already, just so I can learn people's names a bit easier. I can see some names. You think we should give them a Sharpie? I know there's some in that cup over there, I think. Yes, yes. It's a bit hard for me to see some of the names, so I'm gonna have Sydney pass out a Sharpie. If you guys could write your names maybe with the Sharpie so I could see it better. And just take turns with it. Thank you, Sydney.
No problem.
It's recording. Welcome to Zoom. If you could type out your name or introduce yourself so I can take attendance. Thank you, Alicia. I think there's another person in here who has iPhone only.
Yes, my name is Karen.
Okay, awesome. Got you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Karen. Okay. Karen, did you have problems getting into Zoom or just Google Classroom overall?
I saw on the screen they have a warm up. I don't know if you in there or
Yep, that's me.
okay. I'm
Yeah, I
good,
just
thank
saw
you.
your message. Sorry about that. Okay. Okay. I think we're good to start. Hello. Okay, everyone, welcome. How's everyone doing? Good. Good. You know, it's a bit more nerve-wracking standing here than sitting over there, so please excuse me. I do want to get started with a warm-up now. So I wanted you guys to write one question that you have to George Washington. It can be anything, just any question you might have to George Washington. You can write more than one question in case someone takes your question, but you do need at least one. Because once I get all your questions, I'm actually going to use ChatGPT to answer them for you as George Washington. Do you guys know what ChatGPT is?
George Washington, this answer, you need the question?
Correct. I just need a question that you have for George Washington. Like, if he was standing right here, what would you guys ask him? What's a question you have for him if he was right here, right now? So that is my warm-up for you. And then to my friends on Zoom, if you could type your question in chat as well, I'll look at those. So
The same question?
just any question that you have. So let's pretend George Washington is on the phone with you. What would you want to ask George Washington? He's on the phone with you. So any question that you have. Does that make sense for everyone?
Maybe George Washington is in the dollar bill is this is the.
Did you want to ask him that?
Yeah.
Okay, I think let's take some time to write a question down first. Try your best. And then we're gonna go around the room and have everyone ask their questions and we'll use ChatGPT to answer them. Mhm.
Are you able to read the chats?
Huh?
Are you able to see the chats or are you?
I have them closed, but
I didn't know if you wanted me to read them to you.
you can read them to me. That might be easier, so I don't have this one blocking my screen.
Any question we can ask to George?
Any question that you might have for George Washington, feel free to ask. And we'll try our best to have that answered for you.
Of course, George Washington, but now we are there, it's kind of the event.
What we have on chat so far.
Good.
So if you guys are struggling, I have a couple of examples from my friends on Zoom. One of the questions was, George, what is your horse's name? That's a good question. We have another one that says, George, where are you from? That's a good question. So hopefully that gives you some ideas on what questions you can ask. Thank you for everyone who wrote your question on Zoom. So hopefully that sparks some ideas. But try coming up with your own question if possible. I'll give you guys like 5 minutes to come up with something, and then we're gonna go around the room and we'll share questions, okay?
Okay.
If you have any questions, please let me know. Oh. Right now, we're doing the warm up. You want to just write one question you have to George Washington. And it can be any question that you have. If he was standing right here, what would you ask him? So let's write that out. And then in 3 minutes, we'll go around the room. Okay. It's been 5 minutes. Do we feel like we need more time to write a question? Anyone want more time?
Yeah.
More time? Do you need like another minute? I'll give you like another minute then, it's fine. Okay, what is this stuff? Are we all good? Yes, okay. So the next part of this, we're going to go into ChatGPT. Do you guys, are you guys familiar with it? What ChatGPT is? Yeah. So it's a web browser that you can use that uses AI, and you can ask it 20 questions. AI stands for artificial intelligence. So it's really smart. It basically grabs information from the web or whatever information that you feed it, learns and grows from it. So that's what's really cool about it. And another cool thing you can do is ask ChatGPT to be George Washington to be able to ask it questions. And it will respond to you like it was George Washington. So, anyone want to volunteer to go first to give their question? If not, we can do my question. I have a question. Or we can start with anyone on Zoom. Does anyone on Zoom want to start us off? Well, I'll put my question. My question was, what sort of meals did you eat in the trench? That's my question for George Washington. And the response is, meals in the trench were often simple and hearty, reflecting the practicalities of wartime life. Our fare typical consisted of provisions such as salted meat, hard-tacked biscuits, beans, cornmeal, and dried fruits. We would cook these rations over open fires or portable stoves when circumstances allowed. Additionally, soldiers often foraged for fresh vegetables or hunted game when the opportunity presented itself. Supplementing our diet with whatever nature provided, though not lavish, these meals sustained us through the rigors of battle and helped keep morale high amongst adversity. So that's what my answer was. It was pretty informative. Anyone want to step up and ask their question? Or I can go through Zoom first, so I have them here. Okay, let's see. So let's start with Christina's question. She asked, what's your horse's name? So ChatGPT gave us an answer. My beloved steed's name was Nelson. He was magnificent and faithful companion, carrying me through many campaigns with grace and strength. Nelson was a stalwart ally in the Revolutionary War, and during the trials of battle alongside me, his loyalty and courage was exemplary, and I held him in the highest regard. So it sounds like Nelson was definitely loyal, or Washington was loyal to his horse, Nelson. Next question, George, where are you from? So the answer to where are you from? I was born on February 22nd, 1732, in Westmoreland County, Virginia, which lies in the British American colonies. My friends owned a plantation called Pope's Creek Estate. As a young man, I spent much of my early life in Virginia before embarking on a journey that would lead me to become one of the founding fathers of the United States. Pretty cool.
Wow. Y
Anyone
pone
wanna jump-
February 22. Nice.
Anyone have their birthday on February 22 in here? No, that would have been really cool. Anyone want to jump in before I keep going with our Zoom questions? Arlen?
I wanna know if he likes the picture that's printed on the dollar bill, or if he would like to retake it.
Or. That's a good question. All right, it's a long response. The portrait on the dollar bill, it captures a moment in history, a symbol of values and aspirations of fledgling nations. While I am honored to be featured in such a prominent piece of currency, I must admit that the likeness could be improved. If given the chance, I would gladly sit for another portrait, perhaps to capture a more accurate representation of myself as I was in life. However, I am humbled by the enduring recognition that is that current image affords me and the significance it holds for the American people. Anyone else want to jump in?
Do you have brother?
Do you have a brother? Was the question.
Yeah.
Okay, indeed. I had several siblings. Lawrence Washington, my half-brother, played a significant role in my life. He was a mentor to me and a source of inspiration, imparting valuable lessons and guidance as I grew into adulthood. Lawrence's influence helped shape my character and instilled in me a sense of duty and honor that would guide my actions throughout my life. Anyone else?
How was it to be the first president of the United States?
Was it to be the first president in the United States? Ooh, that's great. Well, let's get through it. Okay. Being the first president of the United States was an immense honor, but it also carried a great responsibility and challenges. When I assumed the presidency in 1789, the nation was in its infancy, and success of our experiment in democracy was far from ensured. I faced numerous decisions that would set precedents for the future leaders and shape the course of the nation. Navigating the complexities of establishing a new government, uniting a diverse populace, and building institutions from scratch required careful deliberation and steadfast leadership. I sought to embody the principles of integrity, impartiality, and selfless service in my role as president, striving to uphold the ideals upon which our fledgling nation was founded. While the presidency brought its share of trials and tribulations, it was also deeply rewarding to witness the growth and progress of the United States during my time in the office. Guided by a vision of strong and prosperous republic, I worked tirelessly to lay the foundations for a nation that would endure for generations to come. Sounded like he had a lot to do.
What party was he in? Democrat, Republican,
That's a good question. Do you know, Sydney?
or back then
I don't think the
there
two.
wasn't those themes?
They weren't established yet, right? So the two parties weren't established yet, so I found it. If you want to look it up to make sure. Do you want me to look it up? Actually, I can just use ChatGPT, actually. What political party were?
I think it will be against Britain or with Britain.
So I asked, what political party were you in? And it responds with, I do not belong to any political party during my presidency. In fact, I cautioned against the formation of political parties in my farewell address, warning the division of influence they could have on the nation. Instead, I believed in the importance of unity and common good, advocating for a government that transcended partisan interests and served the best interests of the American people as a whole. The philosophy of non-partisanship reflected on my commitment to the principles of independence and national unity, which I believe were essential for the success and stability of the young republic. So he did not believe in parties, and he even did not want parties to happen to begin with. So he was not part of the party. Anyone else want to ask a question before I jump back to the Zoom questions?
He is married.
Are you married? Yes, indeed. I was married. Martha Dandridge Custis became my wife on January 6, 1759. Martha was a gracious and devoted partner, and our marriage was one of the mutual respect and affection. She brought stability and warmth to our household, managing our estate with great skill and providing unwavering support throughout my public career. Although we had no children, together, Martha and I cherished our family life and bonded as we shared. I did not know he had no children. I guess that's new for me.
I was gonna ask you if he had any kids.
Well, I guess now we know he had no kids. Any questions before I jump back to Zoom questions?
Why did the day have put the slave?
Say again?
Why did the day have put the slave?
Oh, why did he help the slaves? So why did you help the slaves?
It was Abraham Lincoln.
That is true, that was Abraham Lincoln.
It was not George Washington. As it says, the family has a plantation, so he believed in slavery.
Okay. Well, I still typed the question on why did you help the slaves? And this is what I got for you. As a historical figure, my views and actions regarding slavery evolved over time. Like many of my contemporaries, I owned enslaved individuals, a practice that was unfortunately common in colonial Virginia society. However, I come to recognize the inherent contradiction between advocating for liberty and owning slaves. Throughout my life, I wrestled with moral implications of slavery. In my later years, I expressed a desire to see slavery abolished and took steps to provide the emancipation of the enslaved individuals I owned upon my death. In my will, I stipulated that my enslaved workers would be freed upon Martha's death. Additionally, I provided the education and support of young enslaved people to help them transition to freedom. While my actions fell short of the ideals of equality and justice, I believe that my efforts to address the issue of slavery in my own way reflect a growing awareness in its injustices and a desire to contribute to its eventual abolition. Did I say that right? Abolition. I'm getting tongue-tied here reading all this. So he did help the slaves towards the end. He did own slaves, but he started feeling like this isn't good and even freed his own slaves when his wife died. I'm gonna go back to Zoom questions and I'll hop back to you guys if you guys have any more questions. So the next question on Zoom was, George, how many years do you have? I'm assuming you meant age, right? I'm gonna ask him, how old are you? At my time of death on December 14, 1799, I was 67 years old. All right, and then we have two more questions here. So one was it that cold during the Battle of Trenton? Okay. So the Battle of Trenton took place December 26, 1776. During the American Revolutionary War, while exact weather conditions can vary, historical records indicate that it was indeed bitterly cold winter's night. Reports suggest that the winter was harsh, with icy conditions and freezing temperatures, adding to the challenges faced by the American and Hessian forces. The Continental Army under my command famously crossed the icy Delaware River on the night of December 25th, 26th, to launch a surprise attack on the Hessian garrison stationed in Trenton, New Jersey. The extreme cold and difficult terrain made the crossing in subsequent engagement even more perilous. However, despite the harsh conditions, the American forces achieved a stunning victory, bolstering morale and revitalizing the revolutionary cause. So it sounded like it was cold and everything was frozen and it sounded awful, and I'm glad I wasn't there. And last question, was your haircut trending? In my time, hairstyles were quite different from modern trends. As a military officer, as the first president of the United States, I typically wore my hair in a style common to the late 18th century, which included longer hair tied back in queue or ponytail. This style was practical for keeping hair out of one's face and maintaining a neat appearance, especially in military settings. While it might not have been considered trendy in modern sense, it was certainly fashionable for the time and reflected the norms of the era. Okay. Probably have time for like two more questions if anyone has a question. No? Okay.
Where he was died.
Oh, where did he die?
Mm-hmm.
So he passed away in Mount Vernon, my home in Virginia, on December 14, 1799. Mount Vernon held a special place in my heart, and it was where I spent the majority of my life after retiring from public service. It was there that I died peacefully, surrounded by loved ones, bringing an end to a life dedicated to the service of my country. Any other questions?
Mine was similar to the one she asked, you like to be president?
Do you like being president? What was the one that we asked before? How was presidency?
And
How-
where was his favorite place?
Okay. All right, I have two questions. I'll do two more questions. We can do if you like being presidency, and then I'll answer what was your favorite place as well. Being the first president of the United States was both a great privilege and a tremendous responsibility. While it was an honor to serve my country and help shape the course of its history, the presidency also brought with it numerous challenges and burdens. Leading a young nation through its formative years required dedication, sacrifice, and deep sense of duty. I took the responsibilities of presidency seriously and endeavored to uphold the principles of integrity, justice, and selfless service in my role as chief executive. Though the demands of presidency were often taxing, I believed in the importance of setting a strong example for future leaders and ensuring the success and stability of a fledgling republic. In retrospect, I am proud of the contributions I made during my time as a president. But I also recognize the weight of the office and the sacrifices it entailed. Overall, while it was not always easy, I am grateful for the opportunity to have served my country in such a crucial capacity. And then last question, what was your favorite place?
Yeah.
So one of my favorite places was Mount Vernon, my beloved estate in Virginia. Mount Vernon held a special significance for me, not only as a place of residence, but also as a sanctuary where I could find solace and peace amidst the demands of public life. Nestled along the banks of the Potomac River, Mount Vernon's picturesque surroundings and tranquil atmosphere provided a welcome retreat from the turmoil of politics and war. I took great pride in the estate's beauty and meticulously maintained its grounds, cultivating gardens, orchids, and landscapes that reflected my love for the land and my vision of agrarian prosperity. Mount Vernon was more than just a home, it was a symbol of my values and aspirations for the nation. It was there I could reconnect with nature, spend time with my family and friends, and reflect on the challenges and opportunities facing the young republic. To me, Mount Vernon was a place of comfort, inspiration, and profound significance, and it will always hold a special place in my heart.
That's nice.
I think he also died. Yeah, he said he died in Mount Vernon too, so he was able to die in his favorite place.
So the White House doesn't take until he passed away or before?
Oh, like if he was in the White House?
Yeah.
So he finished presidency, gave up his presidency to John Adams, the second president. And after that, he just took life pretty easily by the sound of it. And from there, he spent his life in Mount Vernon and died there. Yep. Kind of depressing, but it's kind of a good ending. Better than dying in war, I suppose. Okay. Before I move on, are we no more questions or any more questions regarding ChatGPT or just this warm up in general? Cool. Okay. That's not what I want to do. Here we go. So we'll move on with the lesson. So let's review what we covered last time. Let's see if you guys remember. So why does the flag have 13 stripes? Can anyone tell me?
Because we have 13
original
colonies.
Because there were 13 original colonies, and because the stripes represent the original colonies. Why does the flag have 50 stars?
Because the United States.
Because we have 50 states.
Because there's one star for each state, because each star represents a state, or because there are 50 stars. All three of those are correct, you just need to remember one. What do we show loyalty when we say the Pledge of Allegiance?
The United
The
States.
United States. The flag.
The flag and the United States. Good job, guys. What is the name of the national anthem?
The Star Spangled
The
Banner.
Star-Spangled.
The Star Spangled Banner. Good job. What is one reason colonists came to America?
Freedom.
6 choices here. Freedom, political liberty, religious freedom, economic opportunity, practice religion, or escape persecution. You just need to know one, but freedom is definitely the easiest, in my opinion.
Easy.
Who lived in America before Europeans arrived?
The Native Americans.
Native Americans or American Indians are both correct. Name one American Indian tribe in the United States.
Cherokee.
Cherokee, Pueblo. I heard
Pueblo.
Pueblo, Apache.
Yep. So all of these are correct. Cherokee, my opinion is easiest, but you can choose whichever is easiest for you. What were the 13 original states? Can you name 3?
New York, New Hampshire, and South Carolina.
Okay, I heard a lot of good ones. So
Mm.
here we go. Our 13 states. I think I brought up before, I found it easier to remember the news,
Yeah, the New York City.
New York City, I'm sure.
but whatever's easiest for you guys, I recommend sticking with that.
Pues no tal vez la suya y dice, no.
What about if we only say 2 of those? They say, oh, is that good?
That's a good question. Do you by chance know, Sydney?
Hmm.
What happens if you only answer 2 out of the 3?
Probably be wrong.
It would just be considered wrong.
I really.
Mhm.
Wow.
You have to remember 3. That's why I'm saying always, I like to remember the New Yorks because, or not the New Yorks, but the news. Because there's 3
New
news
York.
and the 13 colonies. So if you can remember all the new states, it's easier, but.
New Hampshire.
The first one I hear. Mhm. Okay. Why did the colonists fight the British?
Because the height.
For the high taxes.
Because of high
That's
taxes, because they did not have a self-government. So. What did the Declaration of Independence do?
Not that is the point.
Announced our independence,
Oh,
declared our independence from Great Britain, or
We
said
suppo-
States is free Britain.
excuse
Yeah.
me. We supposed to say from Brighton or no?
Not necessary, you can just say announce our independence. The from Great Britain is optional, so if it's easier for you to remember without it, that's fine.
Okay, thank you.
Paréntesis es opcional. Si tú no-
Mhm. Does that answer your question?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, when was the Declaration of Independence adopted?
July 4,
1776.
Let me see.
Oh, this is not right. But yeah, July 4th, 1776 was correct. I don't know why it's not, this is the previous one. Who wrote the Declaration of Independence?
Thomas Jefferson.
Jefferson.
Thomas Jefferson or just Jefferson is okay too? What are 2 rights in the Declaration of Independence?
Life.
Like, see.
Does anyone have the last one? Besides life and liberty?
Pursuit of happiness as well.
Pursuit of happiness.
Oh,
Good job, Christina.
yeah.
Who is the father of our country?
George Washington.
George Washington. Who was our first president?
George
George Washington.
George Washington. And now I have a game for you guys.
Oh.
To really make sure you remember those, we're gonna play true or false. So it requires you guys to stand up. And this side of the room will be true, and this side is false. If you think the question is true, you go to that side of the room. If you think it's false, you go over here. Does that make sense?
True.
Correct. Everyone got it? Okay, cool. So we'll start with the first one. And then, to my friends on Zoom. Here, let me show you. There are 50 states on the American flag. Is that true or false?
True.
Awesome. So let's not say anything out loud first. Let's just walk. And then my friends on Zoom, you should be able to, if you want to walk to true.
So you guys yes.
Yeah.
Hey, Sydney, can you help me out with this part?
Yeah, what's-
I want to be able to make sure that they can mark the document. So I want to be able to see how you can do it. Like, so I can send it to them.
Ya perdieron todos de ganar.
Let me figure this out really quick here for people on Zoom to be able to participate here. Do you see like an annotate button on top for you? Let's see.
We need to translate.
It's not there. Let me see if I can figure this out really quick.
I could put a thumbs up or a thumbs down.
Oh, that might be easier. But I won't be able to see who sent it what. That's the issue.
Different.
Apps maybe.
Yeah.
No, there should be a way to have them annotate. So can I see your screen really quick? Oh,
Okay.
this is just last one. Look at the reaction. I think it just sends- Oh, it's the effect. So I can't see, but you can because, okay, cool. Okay. So everyone on Zoom, if you look at your reactions, was it?
Yeah.
Send a thumbs up if it's true and a thumbs down if it's false. Does that make sense? Are they sending thumbs up or thumbs down? Can you guys send a thumbs up or thumbs down for this question so we know it's working?
Say that again.
Okay, so if you go under reactions. And if you select thumbs up or thumbs down. Thumbs up means it's true, thumbs down it's false. Let me see if I can somehow see everyone here. Hey, can you send that thumbs up again, Cindy, so I can see if I can see it on my side of the screen? Did you send it?
I see somebody put one.
Oh, I see it now, okay. I'll put you in charge of that. Okay, thank you. Yep. That works. And then just. Christina, do you know how to do it? You got it? Okay. All right, cool. So we'll move on to the next question then. Cindy, you can keep track of the ones on Zoom. So that's true. There are 50 stars on the American flag. Next one, there are 14 stripes on the American flag.
Oh,
Anyone disagree? Anyone disagree with that being false? Okay, false. Colonists came to America to be free.
Then
The answer. Okay, so we all agree colonists came to America to be free. True. Native Americans arrived after the Europeans.
True.
No, you gotta be on a third.
No.
No, before false. Yeah, because they live and talk. Before. No.
Yeah, before.
Before, yes.
So are we all saying true? Anyone saying false? Or sorry, everyone saying false? Anyone saying true?
Because they live here.
False. The Declaration of Independence was adopted on July 4th, 1776.
True.
True. Let's see. Thomas Jefferson wrote the Declaration of Independence. Okay? True. Washington was not a president.
Washington is president. Sí, pues, pero él es- Washington-
False. The Star-Spangled Emblem is the national anthem.
Emblem?
Good talking, Larry. That's why you don't wanna have a herd mentality. Okay, let's see. Oh, and that was it. So, do you guys like that? Is that good? Okay. All right, we can all take a seat now. We're gonna get started on our US citizenship presentation preparation.
The last question was a good one.
I tried to think of one that would be good. Okay. So let's get into our interview tips. So some tips I have for you guys when you go into your interview, you want to gather and organize all your required documents in a folder or bag. Usually maybe the day before to make sure you have everything. You want to make sure you study. That's a big one. Dress well and be on time. It looks good if you're punctual and are dressed appropriately and not wearing like really baggy jeans or, you know, just make yourself look presentable. If you do not understand the question the officer just asked, you can ask them to repeat it. You want to speak clearly, slowly, and with respect when you go to your interview. That way, so the officer it's easier for them to understand. So some preparations I think you guys can do. So you want to get your identification documents. So like bring your permanent resident card, your passport, any other identification documents that was specified in your interview appointment notice. So definitely have that prepared. Any application forms and supporting documents. So bring copies of all the forms you submitted for your naturalization application, as well as any supporting documents such as birth certificates, marriage certificates, divorce decrees, and proof of any name changes. You want to bring proof of residence. So bring documentation showing your continuous residence in the United States for the required period. So this may include lease agreements, utility bills, tax returns, or employment records. Selected service registration. If you are a male between the ages of 18 and 26, you must have registered with selected service, so you want to bring proof of that as well. English language proficiency, so be prepared to demonstrate your ability to read, write, and speak basic English. You may be asked to read and write sentences, well, not you may, you will be asked to read and write sentences in English during the interview. Other things, some civics knowledge. So you want to study the civics test questions and answers provided by the USCIS. I provided you guys those 100 questions. If anyone needs one, let me know. But if you also go on the USCIS website, they have a lot of great material there for you to study. Be prepared to answer questions about US history, government, and the rights and responsibilities of citizens. You want your character references, so be ready to provide information about your moral character, including any arrests, convictions, or legal issues. So you want to bring any court documents related to your criminal history, if applicable. Medical history, if you have any significant medical issues since your last immigration application, be prepared to provide those information, provide the information about them. An interpreter, if you need an interpreter for the interview due to language barriers. I don't think there's anyone here that needs an interpreter because I don't think any of you guys fit the criteria for it. But if you somehow do, you can make sure to bring one who is fluent in both English and your native language. The interpreter must be at least 18 years or old and not have any personal interest in the outcome of the interview. And any additional requests, if USCIS requests any additional documentation or information from you, make sure to bring those as well.
Like, for example, what? Any other documents if they ask for?
I mean, I'm not too familiar with other documents they could ask for, but I know sometimes they'll ask for like proof of residency and stuff like that, so be ready. I can't think of anything, but I decided to add that just in case they decide to ask you something in the mail. So just be ready. Pay attention to what they send you. Make sure you
Okay.
have.
Okay.
Excuse me?
Yes.
I can make a picture for this one.
Oh, did you want me to, do you want to take a picture?
Yes.
And this presentation is also uploaded on Google Classroom, so if you wanna just be able to pull this from the Google Classroom, it's easier as well for you.
So
Yeah.
they not only ask you questions, they make you write sentence and all that.
I'm not
Not
understanding.
use like they, okay, so in the interview is not like, okay, I'm gonna ask you 100 questions and that's it. So they ask you.
They ask you questions from your N400 form, and that's the form where you fill out your personal information, like your birthday, parents, significant other children, addresses, work. They ask you questions about that. They'll ask you writing questions and reading questions as well. This is all stuff that will be on your like N400 as well. So sometimes you might need supporting documentation for the stuff that's in your N400 form. So like if you're a male, for instance, between the age of 18 and 26, that would be on your N400 form, and you want to bring that with to prove that you registered for that selective service. Arlen?
For the birth certificates, do they need to be translated in English or can it be a copy of the original one?
That's a good
I've heard,
question.
we might need it translated.
I believe we do need to translate it because I think we just added that service to our immigration department translations.
Oh, so they can-
Mhm.
Okay, cool.
So yeah, I believe it does have to be translated, but we can double check that at the end of class if you want me to.
Oh, thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, so did I skip one? No, I did. You want to get used to small talk when you go into your interview. So you want to get used to questions like, how are you? Who came with you today? Did you drive here? Was traffic bad? Where are you from? And how do you like the weather today? So those are just examples of small talk. Nothing related to anything important, but it's good to be able to respond to these so the officer understands that your English skills are on point. You want to be good. So you also want to get used to instructions, so please have a seat here. Please sit on the second chair, or please raise your hand to be sworn in. Those are other sentences that you might want to get used to in English and understand. So when they ask you something like this, you know what to do. Any questions? So some confusing questions that you might run into when you're in your interview. You have I'm so tongue-tied. You have been working there for 2 years, haven't you? So they'll probably ask you something like that. That's regarding your job. Probably a different way to ask than what you're normally used to. But as long as you understand that they're asking the duration of the time that you worked there, and you can answer, you're good. You're a Mexican, right? Simple yes or no would suffice.
No. Okay.
And you've been to the US for how long? So this is a tricky one because you want to know how long you've been in the US. Approximations are good. So you could say something like, oh, I've been here for like 5 years, 6 years. That's good. They usually don't look for exact dates when they ask you that sort of question. But unless they ask you, oh, what day did you come in? that's a different question, and you do want to give them like a date. And when they ask for a date, at least give them a month and a year.
And they can ask you what month you came?
Yes, so they can,
Oh.
depending on how they word the question, they can ask you, oh, what day did you come in? You could
What
give-
month?
You can,
Okay.
you can tell them, oh, I came in like April 2020, you know? Instead of saying like, if you don't remember the exact day, like I came in on the 11th of April. I think you could just tell them April 2020, and that should be sufficient enough for them to have their answer.
All right.
But yeah, that's the hard part, is just distinguishing different questions. So what day or how long are two different things. Your husband is a naturalized citizen, isn't he? So they're asking if he's a citizen. You can just say yes or no. You have 4 children, yes, so you just need to know how many children you have. Hopefully, I hope that you know how many children you have. So just keep track of that. Yes or no, sufficient. Date of birth, that's when you give them your date of birth. I wouldn't say April 20 or 1999 because that is not sufficient. You have to give them your actual date. So my birthday is October 11, 1999. So that's what you want to give them. And are you married? Or they would say married, question mark. Yes or no, sufficient. With these sort of interviews, you usually don't want to give out more information than they ask. That's one thing you want to always remember. Tell them what they need to know and then just zip it. Zip it, don't say anything else. So other topics, do you know what you're here for today? You could, another question could be, do you know why you're here? You are here, or can you tell me what you are doing here for today? Some answers for that, when they ask you these sort of questions, you can say, I got a letter in the mail to come for a test to be a citizen. I'm here to have an interview to be a US citizen. I must take a test to be a citizen, or I have an appointment to take a test to be a citizen. So these are all appropriate answers to these sort of questions. You can also ask for repetition during an interview. I know some of you are familiar with it now, but if you're not, if they say a question to you and you're not familiar with it, you could say, could you please repeat that? Or could you say that again, please? We want to have our manners. So always say please and thank you. And that way they'll repeat the question for you. I don't think there's a limit to how many times you can ask them to repeat.
3 times.
Is it three?
Maybe like now they're asked that question, repeat that 10 times, maybe. Okay. You can go.
I'm pretty sure you don't want to overdo it. But definitely you want to be clear about wanting the officer to repeat the question so he understands what you want. So you could say stuff like when you're doing an interview with the officer for more clarification, you could say, I'm sorry, I don't understand. Could you explain that? If he says something confusing, this is something you can tell the officer to further explain what he just asked you or told you. You could also say, sorry, I don't know what you mean. Could you explain that? Or you can even say, do you mean ... And give your own interpretation of what the officer said. And hopefully he'll correct you and not leave you in the dark. So that's about all I have for our interview preparations. Does anyone have any questions for that?
The officers are mean during the interview.
It's mixed.
Someone.
Really?
It's mixed. So you might be good with you may get lucky with a really nice officer. And sometimes they're even nice to you for the test. I've heard some people, like, they'll answer like one question and like, okay, you're done. And that's like, you're very lucky.
Yeah,
That's like, you're very lucky. So it just depends. Sometimes they're crabby. and they're not feeling it. So you want to just be nice to all the officers.
But Amy, I have to say something.
Yes.
For the green card, I hired a lawyer and we have these interviews to practice. So he made me do a lot of interviews that I have to pay because
Mhm.
according to him, the officer was gonna ask me a lot of questions. So by the time that I arrived to the interview, the officer didn't ask me anything at all.
Mhm.
So you never know.
Yeah, so your officers can be different. So I would just, like I said, be nice to all the officers. Don't get on their bad sides. Maybe you'll be lucky and maybe you might actually have to remember everything. So. Let's see. Okay, here we go. So actually, we're not done here. I was like, wait, that can't be everything. So we're gonna talk about the reading and writing test of the interview. So to pass the writing test, you can have some grammatical or spelling or capitalization errors. You can omit short words that do not interfere with the meaning of the sentence. You can have numbers spelled out or written as digits. And you must write 1 out of 3 sentences correctly in order to demonstrate your ability to write in English. So yeah, I think someone had asked me before. Some spelling is fine, some grammatical errors, some capitalization errors are okay, you can still pass, as long as they're very minor, and it's not a big deal. So for an example, Washington was the first president and Washington was first president. What do you guys think is right and wrong?
The first one is right.
Right, the second one is not.
You guys think the second one's wrong?
Yes.
So, the first one, Washington was the first president, is correct. And the second one, Washington was first president, is incorrect, but it is passable. So hopefully that alleviates some stress. I recommend getting it good enough to write Washington was the first president like this. But if you end up writing something like this, just know it's passable. You will fail the writing test if you write a different sentence or word. If you write an abbreviation for a dictated word. You write nothing or 2 isolated words, or you write a sentence that is completely illegible. So you want to have nice handwriting. So my examples here, New York City was the first capital or NYC capital. What do we think?
The first,
The first one's correct.
It's correct. It's correct.
And what do we think about the second one? Do we think that's passable?
Well, depends if they ask you what the first capital, because you're missing,
Mhm.
depends the question.
Mhm.
The question is, who is the correct, right, no?
Mhm.
The first one,
The first one's correct.
yeah, but when like, who is the first one, the capital too?
Okay. So New York
Yeah.
City was the first capital is correct. NYC capital is incorrect. We abbreviated New York City when they were asked to spell it out. So you never want to do that. You never just want to put NYC when they ask you to spell out New York City. And on top of that, they missed 3 whole words was the first. So you're only left with 2 isolated words here. So that's not passable. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
You never finished that something.
Yep, and you never wrote this out, so make sure you never abbreviate your stuff like your cities and states and all that. So to pass the reading test, one of the 3 sentences, read one of those 3 sentences without extended pauses. So you don't want to read a sentence and then continue it like this. You don't want to pause too long. The officer is able to understand the sentence, so you want to be able to speak clearly and slowly. The applicant must read all the content words, but may omit short words or make pronunciation or annotation errors that do not interfere with the meaning. So basically you can read all the content words. So let's say we go back to this sentence here. We can say something like New York City was first capital. You're reading all the content words and omitting the word that isn't that important, like the. So that's a short word that you're allowed to omit and it's still passable. Pronunciation and annotation errors. It's not a big deal. Annotation, if you don't understand, it's like when you talk and you make it sound different. So like, let's say you have a question. What is 2 + 2? Is annotation is different compared to what is 2 + 2. It's a slight difference to how you read that. One's a question and one's a sentence. Doesn't matter though. Just so that you guys are clear with that, it's okay. You must write 1 out of 3 sentences. You must read 1 out of 3 sentences correctly in order to demonstrate the ability to read in English. That's supposed to be read, but yeah, it's same like writing, instead it's for reading. So you get 3 chances to read 1 correctly. You will fail the reading test if you omit a content word or substitute another word for a content word. You pause for extended periods of time while reading the sentences. You make pronunciation or annotation errors to the extent that the applicant is not able to convey the meaning of the sentence or the officer is not able to understand the sentence. So it's not huge. Just make sure that you're not pausing a lot when you read. Make sure you're clear enough and that the officer can understand what you're saying. And just make sure you're reading all the words to the best of your ability as well, especially those content words. So here I have 3 videos for you guys. For examples on the interview. So this first video is going to be talking about your N400 application.
Hello,
and your
my name is Luis
interview.
Fernandez. I've been living in the United States for almost 11 years. I've been taking English classes at my library near my home to prepare for my naturalization interview today. I'm nervous, but I know I'm ready.
Luis Fernandez? Hello, I'm Officer Allen. I'm going to conduct your naturalization interview today.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you as well. Please follow me to my office.
I put
How did you
captions
get
in
here?
Spanish too, so
I drove.
you guys can follow along.
How was traffic?
There's a little bit of traffic, but nothing too bad.
Here we are, right here. Please remain standing. I need to place you under oath. Please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the statements you're about to make will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
You may have a seat.
Thank you.
A large part of the naturalization interview involves reviewing your Form N400 application. We will ask you questions about the information that you gave on your form. We will also review the documents you have submitted to us with your form. When reviewing your Form N400, we are testing your ability to speak and understand the English language, which is a requirement for naturalization. If you do not understand a question, Ask us to repeat the question or explain the question using other words. I'll take your interview notice now.
Here you go.
May I see your permanent resident card, also known as your green card, your passport, and state issue identifications? Now we will go over your application form N-400. Are you ready?
I am.
What is your date of birth?
July 15th, 1984.
Where were you born?
I was born in La Union, El Salvador.
Are you a citizen of El Salvador?
Yes, I am.
Were either of your parents United States citizens?
No, they're not.
Are you currently single, married, divorced, or widowed?
I'm married
Where do you work?
at the library. Before I got a job there, I used to take English classes there.
When was your last trip outside of the United States?
About a year ago, I went to El Salvador to visit my family for about 2.5 weeks.
Are you sure? I see 3 weeks.
It was 2.5 weeks.
During your interview, we will ask you questions about your travels outside of the United States. We will verify the information that you have provided on your application to determine your eligibility for naturalization. We may also ask you for additional information to the answers on your Form N-400 application. Do you remember the date you returned to the United States?
It was November 8th.
How many trips have you taken outside of the United States in the last 5 years?
That was my only one.
Have you ever claimed to be a U.S. citizen?
No, I haven't.
Have you ever voted in the United States?
No, I have not.
Do you owe any taxes?
No, I do not.
At any time during your interview, it is fine for you to ask the officer at your interview to repeat a question.
Can you repeat the question?
Do you owe any taxes?
No, I do not.
Have you ever been arrested?
No, I haven't.
We will scroll through your Form N-400 to make sure that the information and changes made during the interview are correct. Will you please look at the tablet?
Okay,
Do you agree with those changes?
I do.
Tap here, use the rubber part of the stylus. Tap here where it says agree and sign. Sign your name. Hit accept. The next signature is for the oath. By signing this section, you are affirming that you will take the oath of allegiance on the day of your naturalization ceremony. Use the stylus, rubber side, scroll. It's the oath of allegiance. Tap,
Right there.
yes.
There you go.
So that's the video I had for you guys to show you guys how your N-400 portion of the interview goes. So you'll notice that they ask you more personal questions about yourself. So just be ready to answer those. The next one I have is for our civics test.
I've been living in the United States for 8 years. I've been studying for the civics test for the last 6 months. I use study materials from the USCIS Citizenship Resource Center. Every night, my children would ask me the civics test questions.
Are you ready for your civics test?
Yes, I am.
In what month do we vote for President of the United States?
November.
Who is the father of our country?
George Washington.
George Washington.
When was the Constitution written?
1787.
Who signs bills to become laws?
The president.
The president.
How many US senators are there?
9.
Excuse me, can you repeat the question?
Yes. How many US senators are there?
100.
At any time during the interview and test, you may ask the officer at your interview to repeat the question more than once. Who was the president during World War I?
I don't know.
That's okay. Let's try another civics question. What is the last date you can send your federal income tax forms?
April 15th?
Congratulations, you passed the civics test.
Thank you.
The naturalization interview and test are critical steps in the naturalization process. I gave the test inside an office space today, but depending on the USCIS office that you're in, you might take the test at an information desk in the waiting room. The most important thing for you to remember is to be prepared for your interview and test.
Yes.
We can find the same videos in YouTube.
Yeah, I have them on YouTube, but I was gonna upload them on Google Classroom if that makes it easier for you guys to find as well. Would you guys like that? So you guys can grab them from there. But yes, if you don't have the Google Classroom, you can actually go onto the USCIS website. Or not website, channel,
Welcome.
and they'll have the
fellow
videos
Americans.
there.
First,
It should be under citizenship and naturalization playlist here. So that's where you can find them. If not, I'll post them on Google Classroom. It should be easier to find through there. And then the last video I wanted to show you guys was our reading and writing.
I've been living in the United States for 7 years. Every day I practice reading and writing in English. It's an important skill for me to have so I can build my career in the United States and become a citizen. On the USCIS Citizenship Resource Center website, I found information that helped me prepare for my test, including study materials and vocabulary words used in the reading and writing test.
Ms. Gomez, you have completed the civics portion of the exam. Are you ready for the reading and writing portion of the exam?
Yes.
Good. Now we will show a simulated situation of the English reading and writing test being given to an applicant. Keep in mind that the items we're about to show you are not on the actual test. Remember, this is a simulated naturalization interview and each experience may be different. The reading and writing tests each have 3 sentences. You only need to get 1 reading and 1 writing sentence correct to pass. Ms. Gomez, we will use the tablet for the reading and writing portion of the exam. You can use this stylus for the writing portion on this tablet. Only let the tip of the stylus touch the screen. Can you write for me? The Liberty Bell is in Philadelphia. The Liberty Bell is in Philadelphia.
Can I use all the lines?
You can use all the lines. That's not quite right. Let's try another one. Use your stylus again and write on the tablet, Thomas Jefferson was the 3rd president.
Can I write the number or can I spell the word?
Either one, whichever is comfortable for you. Very good. Now we'll proceed with the reading portion of the exam. Are you ready?
Yes.
Okay. Can you please read the sentence on the screen out loud?
Who was the 3rd president of the United States?
Good, thank you. I will have your results for you in just a minute.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Ms. Gomez, this concludes your naturalization interview. You have passed the civics portion of the exam, as well as the reading and writing requirements. I will be recommending that you be approved for citizenship.
I passed.
You did.
Thank you.
You're welcome. If USCIS approves my recommendation, you will get a letter in the mail. It's gonna have a date, time, and location for the oath ceremony. When you come to the ceremony, make sure you bring with you your green card and your ID. Do you have any other questions?
No,
Okay, congratulations to
thank you so much.
You're welcome.
After taking the oath, I will officially become a United States citizen. With it comes all of the rights and responsibilities of citizenship. I wish you the best on your journey.
And that I take this obligation freely, without any mental reservation.
All right, so out of those 3 videos, did you guys have any questions?
The last one, I just had a question. My friend, she did the ceremony the same day of the naturalization, the what to say, that she got a letter or something. They can do it the same day, the ceremony?
The ceremony? That's something I've heard about because usually, from what I've experienced, so far, people usually take their test and then they get in the mail their appointment for their oath ceremony. And that comes in through the mail.
Oh,
You can find out if you pass sometimes on the day of your interview. Sometimes you might not find out the day of. So it really varies depending on the situation, but
and also she got the same day the passport too.
I'm sorry?
And also she got the same day the passport too.
Oh, really? So probably
Yeah.
you went to DMV right afterwards or something.
Yeah.
Okay. But yeah, like I said, usually the oath ceremony, that appointment, it comes through the mail. They'll send you the location, the time that you have to be there. So that you can make it. But I don't think I've ever heard of someone having it the same day. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Mhm. Any other questions? Yes.
If the first question that they ask about reading and writing is correct, it's only one question?
Correct.
Or if you fail the first one, they make a second chance?
Yes. So you get 3 chances per reading and writing. So,
Okay.
if you don't do well on your first sentence, you always have a second and third one. But if you get only one of them right, so let's say you get the first one correct, you don't have to do it anymore. It's over. You're done. You don't have to write anymore.
Okay.
Mhm. Any other questions? Okay. So I was thinking we could do a mock interview. So if you guys want to partner up, I'm gonna hand out a sheet. You guys can ask each other questions. Let's see. How many people do we have in here? So I have Alicia, Christina, and Karen, and who's the last one in here? Who's my last student in Zoom? You could just type it out and introduce yourself. In the meantime, can you help me pass out those sheets that are in here? So I'm gonna put. Is everyone who's on Zoom, do they have access to a microphone right now?
Yes.
Okay. I'm gonna separate you guys into a, what do you call it? Rooms. A breakout room. And I'm gonna create 2. And it'll be 2 people per room. Because there's 4 people in Zoom right now, aside from me and you. So I'll be checking in every once in a while, and I posted the mock, let me double check really quick. I posted the mock interview on Google Classroom before I send you guys off. Yes, so if you go on Google Classroom, it'll be on our stream. You'll see mock interview questions link, and you can access the questions through that. Do you guys have any questions on Zoom? Okay, I'm gonna put you guys in the breakout room. I'm probably gonna put 4 of you in the breakout room just so that you guys can take turns asking each other. I think that might be best in case someone doesn't have their mic. I'll be checking in on you guys.
So where is the mock interview, the last one?
The mock interview is on the Google Classroom, so if do you see my screen?
Yeah,
It should be the second one right here. It says mock
Okay.
interview questions.
I see.
Then you might end up with a breakout room. Actually, I can, I'll put you in there so you can keep track of them in there. Okay.
So we have to answer all of us?
Yeah, so I'm gonna put you in the breakout room with the other 4 people. And you wanna join the breakout room and you guys can take turns asking each other the questions. Does that make sense? Someone's up there. Okay, so you wanna take care of them while I walk around here? Okay. Okay, so you guys all have that sheet in front of you. So look for another person to pair up and ask each other questions. Do we have any number here? So if you two wanna pair up, you are pairing up. You two. And you need someone. Do you wanna pair with her? You wanna pair with her? No, I. You. And then you improve, are the ones who compare up? And then Daniel and Sandra, you two are paired up. And then you guys just, I have on the front of the sheet are civics questions. In the back of the sheet are more like your M400 questions. So I have a little bit of both that you guys can actually practice with it first. So if you have any questions on how to respond to something, please let me
Under the back. I can remember. That's just the first, that code. Like how you do.
Porque yo busco, tiene 29 años.
Yeah.
Que yo soy casi mi esposa es chilena, después de 3 años, pero cuando yo fui casado,
It's fetching if she has her ID. Card. Can you ask Fatima if she has her ID card?
How many states are in the United States?
What?
What time is it? We're good time now.
And therefore,
We definitely don't want to do that president's writing thing right now. The multi-fiction, multi-level dictation. We have like 20 minutes left if we want to do it. So we can probably get 5 of them. Do you want to let them know we have like 5 minutes left?
Hey guys, we got about 5 more minutes.
All right, everyone, just to let you know, I'm gonna give you guys like 5 more minutes, just so we can do reading and writing as well.
What Alex
Can be religious, right? Can be different.
Yeah. So the first time that so what's the first amount? So we also go with the bill of rights. No, I'm trying to get good. I'm not thinking of the end of that. So. What the first time. Here, do we know what the first amount is? Like, here, they can, you do this question, but you don't get the end. So if the question of the owner, you know, so because they read on test, freedom of speech, freedom of expression, freedom to those are all one right. So that's good for, you know, you can say it like.
Yes, I'm here.
Yeah.
Sorry, you said.
We want to say, we want to say.
Say that one, I'm sorry, it's really loud.
And we want to make sure
No,
people reading it right. Everyone, if I can get your hand, please. Hello, everyone. Thank you. How do you feel on this? How do we feel about these questions? Comfortable? Yeah. Comfortable?
You
Okay.
guys okay with these questions?
If any of you guys are struggling with these questions, please let me know and I'll assist you. Please shoot me an email or text message or call me. I'll try my best to answer. But I do want to move on so that you guys have a chance to read and write for today. I'm gonna call them back into the. It takes 60 seconds, I didn't realize.
Recording in progress.
So, any. We're good now? Okay, are you guys back in the main page now?
Mhm.
You are? Okay, cool. So let's talk about some reading and writing. So let's get into reading. Who wants to go ahead and read this first sentence for me?
Me,
You want to do it? Who's me?
Karen. When is Columbus Day?
Perfect. Who wants to do this one? Oh, it's okay, Carla, you raise your hand.
What city was the first capital of the United States?
Perfect. What city was the first capital of the United States? Who wants to do this one?
Who was the second president?
Perfect. Who was the second president? This one?
What was the first US capital?
Yep, you both are correct. What was the first US capital? And I think this one's the last one. Who wants to read it? Rosa?
What state has the most people?
Perfect. What state has the most people? Okay, now let's do some writing. So let me grab my writing sheet. I hope you guys are ready for this writing. People on Zoom, you could type your writing on the chat and me and Cindy can take a look at that. Cindy, do you want to, or actually Cindy, do you want to give up the writing? Sure. Here's somewhere. It's gonna be the one under the.
So we had to write in the chat. That's what you say?
Yes, please. If you could write in chat,
Okay.
I will get out. Cindy's gonna be reading these sentences for you guys.
Okay.
Got paper up?
I'm gonna take your signal so I can look at ChatGPT.
Okay, so the first sentence is Columbus Day is in October. Columbus
Okay,
Day
okay.
in October. Columbus Day is in October. Can you read these? Everybody good? Second one is New York City was the first capital. New York City was the first capital. New York City was the first capital. Was the first capital. New York City was the first capital. Everybody good? Repeat it?
Yes.
New York City was the first capital. New York City was the first capital. Everybody good? Adams was the second president. Adams was the second president. Adams was the second president. Very good. California has the most people. California has the most people. California has the most people. Everybody good? Okay, and the last one is Mexico is south of the United States. 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 And one more. The White House is in Washington, D.C. 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 Everybody repeat it. The White House is in Washington, D.C. The White House is in Washington, D.C. Does anybody want to come, write the first one on the board?
You have someone to go for too.
Does someone want to do number 4 as well? Person look okay? Everybody? Somebody can come do number 2. Does one look okay?
You're just going right at it, sugar. You knew you wanted to do number 5, no questions.
You look okay, everybody?
Cindy, would you mind actually if I grab your tablet and share your screen?
Yeah, go ahead.
To board?
That I checked, south is, TH, with H, so. With the H. The H, no, they are not, TH.
Do you want to do number 3? And then you can do number 6. You want to do number 3? Can you do number 6? Thank you so much.
Cindy, does this rear camera work?
It should be.
I'm having a hard time with it. If not, I'm gonna have to hold the selfie board in front of the whiteboard. Yeah, our camera weird, but it doesn't.
Like third edition? Oh.
This is camera for.
No, again,
That's fine.
if Adam was, Adam was the second president.
Yes, it's good. ¿Quién escribió?
Very good.
So it's gonna show the answers so that everyone on Zoom can also see the answers. Oh, did you do a 6th one?
Yeah, because on here, New York was the first capital, was twice.
Oh, yeah. So you ended with Mexico, South of the United States.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I
Okay.
finished
So
with Washington DC. The White House is in Washington DC.
mhm. Anyone have any questions on these sentences? Okay. So that's all I have for you guys today. Next class, we're gonna be doing some review work. We're gonna look at responsibilities only for US citizens. And we're gonna look at the economic systems in the US.
The food is ready.
If you have any questions, my email's down here, my phone number. Sydney's email's down here as well, and his phone number. So please feel free to ask us any questions you may have. And if you have not yet signed in to our sheet, please do so. So we know that you came in here today. No, thank you.
See you Tuesday. Have a nice weekend, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh,
Bye.
no, yeah, thank you. Have a good day.
Thank you, Amy. Bye.
Thank you.
Your name is there.